my share of problems with weird Renault issues, but this one takes the cake. Here's the old idler bearing, and although it's just has some rust on it, it was probably still good for another 5,000 miles. The same way with this one. But I had no idea when it was done. So there's your new one, there's your new one. And that was the issue. When was it done? Because there is a life to idlers, especially, because these would freeze, and then the rubber belt would go over the top of the frozen idler. You'd smell smoke for about a half a mile, and then the engine would stop, and people would say, what's the problem? Well, you just blew up your motor. So now this is the shaft. See if you can see that. And this piece, there we go. This piece is pressed into the head, and now this is where it's bolted on. But this is the way it looks, and now no, it won't come off. This piece needs to go back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a vice grip and booger this up, ever so elongated to some extent. Then go ahead and get some high-tech glue that they make for bearings and races. It won't come off. And go ahead and then I'll press that. There it is. I'll press that in there. And go ahead, and that'll solve my problem, because this has to be stable and it is not. So as a result, yes, push that out. Yep, pushed it out. There it is. Okay. Now Daryl had a problem where his bearing would not come off. So I'm going to sand this end off and then use the high-tech glue, which is specifically made to attach loose bearings or loose races to bearings, and then I'll put this piece in. Like I said, I'll booger the end up a little bit, and then that will go into there, and I'll punch that in as hard as I can, and that'll keep it from moving around. And then if I sand this off ever so slightly and then use never seize on it, the next time I need to change the bearing, which will probably be never, this will fall right off, because you have a screw and or a bolt and a washer that holds this on. So that's the object of repair for this one. So it's not all is lost, it's just it adds an extra step, because this should be in there but good, and it is not. So these things happen. They do. Here's the cleaned up screw that I cleaned up, and hopefully within a week I'll be able to put the timing belt back on. Now remember, one thing about this is, once you put it in position, try not to move it, because it'll flop either two cams one way or two cams the opposite way. So try to keep this as stable as you can and keep it in good position. So that kind of explains today's troubles, and my timing belt did not go as planned.